Yo, yo, welcome to Trippy Commentaries and our second annual All Trippy Team. I'm RJ, joined up with FPS Kyle.
What is going on, everybody?
And Mike.
What's happening, everyone?
It was very hard to make the team this year. There's a lot of really good players and a lot of good quarterbacks. We have to start off by saying our All Trippy quarterback is none other than Russell Wilson. And I know that's going to shock a lot of people because Aaron Rodgers seems like the no-doubter MVP. You have Andrew Luck having his best season yet. And even Tom Brady showed us that he still has a lot in the tank. But we are going with Russell Wilson. There he is. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We hope you enjoy. Let us know who's on your personal All-Pro team or whatever you want to call it. And we'll break down our All Trippy team. K-Mac, Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
He's got to be the guy for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to pick him. I know there's a lot of big names out there that most people would pick. The reason we go with Russell Wilson here, he's got over 3,400 yards passing on the season, 20 touchdowns. He's only thrown 7 interceptions, but he's also got 849 yards rushing. That's better than a lot of running backs in the league.
Yep.
He's also got 6 rushing touchdowns. This is a guy that just gets it done. He's on one of the hottest teams right now, and really he's got, except for Marshawn Lynch, not a lot of help around him on that offense. So Russell Wilson is definitely our trippy quarterback.
Now, here's the thing. A lot of people associate Andrew Luck as the smartest quarterback in the league. In my personal opinion, I think you might agree with me, K-Mac. I think it's Russell Wilson because Andrew Luck has thrown a lot of picks this year. We know Russ is not going to do that, and he knows exactly when to run. He's not one of these guys who's going to run and get just slammed. He knows exactly when is the right time, and when it's a played running call, I feel like most of the time he doesn't take big hits and he gets positive yardage.
Yeah.
Now, Mikey, what do you think here? I know this is probably a tough one for you. There's a lot of guys you really like. Do you agree with him being the all-trippy QB for the 2014 season? It's 2015 now as we watch the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to go with Russell Wilson as the #1 quarterback here. I mean, like you said, Rodgers and Luck are both very solid selections as well. But the thing that puts Russell Wilson above those guys is, like you said, Kyle, the rushing yards. He's got that dual threat. He's really dangerous. You never know what he's going to do, if he's going to run the ball on you or, you know, throw it deep on you. So
Houdini, man.
Exactly.
Just because when the play's busted, sometimes he's at its best.
He is our Trippy Team quarterback.
Yep, for 2014. Now, here's our 2 running backs. Of course, you got to have 2 running backs nowadays. Pretty much every team out there, with the exception of maybe the Cowboys, and even they, towards the end of the season, were using Joseph Randle and Dunbar quite a bit because they have pretty good skill sets that even Murray doesn't have.
Yeah.
That said, our #1 running back is DeMarco Murray.
Of course.
He will be splitting time in our backfield with Le'Veon Bell. This is about as easy as selection as it's going to get. I think those are the top 2 guys no matter who you ask.
Yeah, definitely.
K-Mac, DeMarco Murray. It's too bad he got banged up at the end of the year because I felt like he might have had a 2,000-yard season.
Yeah, I got a little banged up, but I mean, 1,800 yards, that's pretty damn impressive. For a stretch there, 7 games, he was setting records. 13 touchdowns on the season, as well as 1,400 yards receiving. So, monster season. Obviously, this is a very obvious pick for us, DeMarco Murray. Le'Veon Bell, man, ended up towards the end of the season, really turned it on, one of the best running backs in the league. If he'd have played it like that all season long, I'd probably said he was better than DeMarco Murray. Probably would have put up better numbers, but unfortunately, he got injured there right at the very end of the season and missed a playoff game, and they were eliminated. So, but definitely happy to have Le'Veon Bell as our second running back on our All Trippy team.
Mike, I know you're a big fan of Le'Veon Bell. What skill set do you think he brings to the table to be able to deserve this All Trippy nomination?
Well, I mean, he's a great running back, but on top of it, he's a great receiving back.
Definitely.
He's always coming out of the backfield, receiving the ball from Ben Roethlisberger. So he's I don't know what he's at with the receiving yards exactly.
850.
Thank you, Kyle.
That's unbelievable. Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
Wow.
So,
That's so impressive.
Very impressive. So
mad props to Le'Veon Bell. He managed to do better than even we expected him, and we expected big things, so that's saying quite a bit. Our fullback has to be Anthony Sherman. He's the big guy in Kansas City leading the way for Jamal Charles, and we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Niall Davis as well, because every time Jamal Charles was out, they really didn't skip a beat because they knew as long as Big Sherman's plowing the way for an impressive running back. I mean, Niall Davis has some talent here. And Sherman has a lot to do with the big games by both running backs. That's going to make that Kansas City running back fearsome once again next year. We know their head coach, Andy Reid, always leans towards the running game. It's going to be interesting to see how they do next year. I think Charles will be fully healthy, and Niall Davis is going to be back as well.
Oh, yeah.
Tight end, Rob Gronkowski, by far the #1 guy. I thought Julius Thomas maybe had a run for his money earlier on. He was getting the touchdowns, but he got injured, and somehow Gronk was the model of health for 2014.
Gronkowski was the one who survived the whole season.
Crazy.
Obviously, between him and Julius Thomas, it's which guy was going to stay healthy. And then Jimmy Graham, same thing with him. Either three of those guys really would be the trippy tight end. Be happy with all three of them. But for this year, Gronkowski, he stayed healthy and he put up great numbers, man. Over 1,000 yards receiving, 12 touchdowns, and he's going to be huge for this team in the playoffs. Definitely no doubt pick here for us for a tight end.
Yeah, little Jimmy, he got injured, and even though he was playing some games, he wasn't 100%. So. He just doesn't cut it this year. It's Gronk all the way, and nobody's going to complain about that pick. Let's move on to the wide receivers. Now, we're going with a 4 wide receiver set. This is one of those years where we saw a lot of, 4th and 1 on the goal line. Most of the time in the past, you see guys force it in with the running back. This year, 4 wide receiver sets. I mean, that's how the NFL has evolved. So because of that, we got to give you our 4 wide receivers, including our legit slot guy. We had to have the slot guy. Now in this case, it's interesting. We'll let you know who it is in a second. But on the outside, another guy who can play slot if need be, Antonio Brown. He is this year's Calvin Johnson. He was a beast, and he just managed to completely explode so many times. He drop kicked a player, curb stomped him, and wow, this guy just managed to be even better than he's ever been in the past. He is so good.
Yeah, Antonio Brown, to me, has almost MVP caliber numbers this year, just because as well as what he can do in the return game, just besides being such a great receiver. This guy is so dangerous. He can run the ball. He can obviously catch the ball. Can also throw touchdown passes, which is pretty amazing. So Antonio Brown, clear #1 for us, and just a guy, one of my favorite players to watch in the NFL.
#2 wide receiver, Dez Bryant. Now, the reason why he makes it is really his touchdowns. He went off. He was scoring all kinds of touchdowns, and so many times Tony Romo just showed so much trust in him by throwing up, and Dez Bryant came through with unbelievable catches. In fact, I think he had the best catches of the year, from beginning to end of the season. He's got to make the team. Now, here's our slot guy, Mike. Jordy Nelson. I know he lines up outside a lot of the time, but he had to make the squad, and we see him line up in the slot so many times, and a lot of times he does some damage from that position.
Definitely. I mean, he's a burner. He takes off. I mean, once he's not quick from the start, but once he gets going, he's gone, and he burns those guys.
And the thing with Jordy Nelson being that great slot receiver is because majority of Jordy Nelson's plays, where he makes a big play, is when Rodgers is in trouble, gets away from a sack, and him and Jordy Nelson are so good. Jordy Nelson's so good at getting open and finding Aaron Rodgers when there's pressure, and he's constantly open. He's one of the guys you really can't cover in the NFL. He's like a flea on the field, man. He's all over the place, and God, he comes up with such big plays. He might not have any catches all game long, and all of a sudden, third quarter, boom, Jordy Nelson, 7-yard touchdown. He is very explosive.
Yeah, so we're going to put him in its slot, and our #4 guy is Odell Beckham Jr. This guy doesn't have as good of stats as some other guys. You might be thinking even Mike Evans deserves it more than him, a fellow rookie, but let's face it, guys. Odell Beckham made some amazing catches, and because of that, of course, along with the catch of the year by far, he definitely makes the All Trippy team.
No
Looking
doubt.
forward to seeing what he can do next year because he will have Victor Cruz back. Those guys are going to make a great tandem.
Exactly. If Odell Beckham Jr. played the first 4 weeks of the season, he probably would have been the #1 receiver in the league this year. Had amazing stats even for missing the first 4 weeks. 1,300 yards receiving, 12 touchdowns. This guy's a freak of nature, man. We saw probably one of the best catches of all time this year that he made. And, I just expect even greater things to come for Odell Beckham.
Definitely.
Special shout out to Demaryius Thomas. Man, it was so hard not to put him on this list.
Yeah, he could easily be on here.
What can we say, Mike? We can't. We had to put Beckham over him by just the nose, by just a hair.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Demaryius Thomas is such a solid receiver. I mean, he's got Manning throwing to him, and it's really tough to not put him on that list.
Absolutely. Now, in between offense, of course, we're going to finish that off by mentioning our offensive line is the Dallas Cowboys, leading the way for DeMarco Murray. And so many times, you just saw Tony Romo dancing back there. Great offensive line led by Tyron Smith, and we're going to go with the whole squad.
And Zach Martin, everybody. I mean, just
Another rookie.
Beast mode of offensive line. And then Dallas actually took some shit for drafting a lot of these guys in the past couple of drafts pretty early. And people are like, what are they doing? They could have got these playmakers, passed on guys like Johnny Manziel, and it's paying off right now because the offensive line is great. With DeMarco Murray, it's definitely helped them get through the first round of the playoffs here as they have just actually defeated Detroit.
Yep.
Exactly.
We'll go ahead and mention the head coach of the team, Bill Belichick. Got to go with him. Really impressive performance by him because earlier on, I mean, people were actually talking about benching Tom Brady.
Yeah.
It was really getting interesting there, but lo and behold, they never lost back-to-back games the entire season once again, and they finish off as the #1 team overall. Got to actually take him as the head coach. I can't imagine taking anybody else despite some other impressive performances. And our kicker will be Steven Gostkowski. He is a hammer. Defensive end, J.J. Watt, Kyle, touchdown machine, right?
I think this is kind of our Trippy Com's unofficial pick for MVP this year.
He is.
In
I'm
the
glad you
NFL
said that.
because this guy is just unstoppable. 20.5 sacks. He had 59 solo tackles, which is ridiculous for a defensive end. 5 total touchdowns. Had 2. One was a fumble recovery, one was an interception, and 3 receiving touchdowns on top of that. Guy can kind of do everything, man, and just such a beast of a defensive end. Maybe one of the best we ever see in football.
Yeah. This has been such a remarkable season when it comes to rookies. We really love the rookie class this year, guys. Props if your team managed to get a good one. We're fans of the Bucks, and we actually managed to get Mike Evans. We're pretty happy with that. We have the #1 overall pick. We're hoping we get Mariota, team him up with Evans. Hopefully that works out. But another good rookie from this year's class, none other than Aaron Donald. Props to the Rams for pulling off the best defensive tackle of the season. We heard so much good coming out of his camp heading into the draft, even though he was undersized. People were like, he's just a gamer.
Yeah.
And he's proven it. Our other defensive tackle, Sheldon Richardson. I also want to give a shout out to Muhammad Wilkerson. I know these guys are like, just a great duo on that line. That's the one shining spot there for the Jets. He's really a beast. He's got a ferocious demeanor. 66
total tackles, which is a really high number for a defensive tackle.
Yeah.
Guy really fills up the middle there and he plays hard, man. You can go on for days about Sheldon Richardson and how hard that guy plays.
He really does, especially because that's a 3-4 defense. We got to mention that. J.J. Watt as well plays on a 3-4, and Jason Pierre-Paul, he's going to be our other defensive end. Really a gritty season. He didn't have a lot of sacks for a while, but then all of a sudden he exploded. And every time I watch a Giants game, he's just always around the ball. He's a force.
Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely. A lot of tackles this year. 77 total tackles. One of those guys that is all over the place.
Now, here's our 2 outside linebackers. We're going to go with 4 linebackers, 2 out, 2 in. Levante David does not get nearly enough respect. Didn't make the Pro Bowl, the All-Pro. So, if you look at his stats, they speak for himself. He's a really good player, and he's definitely our outside linebacker. We have to couple him up with Justin Houston. Houston was a sack machine.
22 sacks, man. Unreal.
Beast.
Guy was a beast coming off the outside. Levante David, 146 total tackles this year. None of those guys is a beast. That really doesn't have really good really good linebackers around him. So he's the main guy there. Still gets all the tackles.
I will mention Levante missed a couple games, and a lot of what we pick with the All Trippy team is a lot of the guys that were able to play most of the games. But the thing about him is he produced enough for a whole season, even missing those 2 games.
Exactly. So, these outside, these were the best 2 I could think of for outside linebackers, and we got 2 studs for the middle linebackers as well.
Absolutely. Luke Kuechly, not talked about nearly enough. Man, why isn't he talked about for defensive MVP, Mike? He's a beast.
I really don't know. I mean, Luke Kuechly is an absolute beast. I mean, he's got, let's see, he's working with on the year.
Ton of tackles.
153 total tackles, man. I mean, he's a tackling machine. He's very, his knowledge of the game is just way higher than a lot of people. And he's really, he's still a young linebacker in this league. So definitely our no doubt pick for middle linebacker, Luke Kuechly.
Always around the ball, always tackling people with the ball, always knocking the ball down. Yeah.
And I want to say special shout out to 2 guys that we definitely have in mind for their inside linebacker spot. Number one's DeAndre Levy. He actually made the All Trippy team last year, so we were torn not putting him on the squad because he had an even better year than last year, to be honest with you. Number 2 guy, Bobby Wagner, sorry.
Yeah.
Billy Wagner, shout out to him, great closer. But Bobby Wagner was banged up. That's the only reason why we didn't do that. Man, he's the best when he's in there. No doubt about that. We're going to put C.J. Mosley, we like to call him Bobby Wagner Jr., because he looks a lot like him, and he really came through for Baltimore this year. Yeah. You agree with those picks, K-9?
Phenomenal rookie season for C.J. Mosley. Just really is now going to fill the void for Ray Lewis not being there for that Baltimore defense. And really, I think he's a guy that could possibly fill those shoes and be almost as good as Ray Lewis.
Yeah. Let's move on to cornerbacks, guys. Once again, thank you very much for listening, and let us know if you agree with all of our picks. Maybe you disagree. Let us know who you'd have in place of the guys that we picked for our All Trippy team. Keep in mind, this isn't the best players. It's our All Trippy team, so we have some stipulations. Let's move on. Chris Harris, guy who doesn't get talked about nearly enough. He actually was the best cornerback this year statistically. If you look at how he did one-on-one, he makes our team, and we have to pick the Shermanator.
No, of course. I mean, Richard Sherman, definitely no doubter. This guy played great this season. Really lived up to the ego that he's kind of presented in the media.
Yeah.
So he's really living up to that. So you got to give props for that. But Chris Harris Jr., man, just on a tear lately. 18 passes deflected this season, which is really high for a cornerback. 15 total tackles, which is solid. This guy is all over the field, and a lot of teams are going to struggle against the Broncos because of the cornerbacks that they have.
Absolutely. Also, our third cornerback, our nickelback, is going to be Brent Grimes. Really had some impressive performances this year. He shut down a lot of good cornerbacks. I know a couple wide receivers got to him, but it's going to happen. If you guys know cornerbacks, I mean, look at Patrick Peterson, who was probably like a runner-up for the team for us.
Yep.
He got beat a lot this year, but then at the same time, he beat a lot of wide receivers, especially in clutch time.
And there's a trippy stipulation on that. The interception he had while going against Calvin Johnson was one of the best catches I've ever seen in my life. So that throws him in there for that nickel spot for us.
Oh, absolutely. And the one guy, of course, we have to say, special shout out to Darrelle Revis. Great year. I feel like he was just not tested a lot this season. And then when he was, some wide receivers got to him. So he barely misses it, but he's a great cornerback. We all know that. Our safeties are Harrison Smith for the Minnesota Vikings, one of our favorite players. Really just gets it done, man. Solid player, always around the ball. As well as Morgan Burnett, another guy. Green Bay is alive and well here. They have a chance for the Super Bowl. A lot of people want to mention Clay Matthews as the best player in that defense. Silently, it could be Morgan Burnett.
Yeah, I definitely think it is, man. 129 total tackles. Guy was a tackling machine. Harrison Smith, 5 interceptions on this season. Guy is a freaking playmaker.
One thing I want to kind of throw out there as we conclude our All Trippy team for the 2014 season. We just got through watching the wild card round. We're going to have some really interesting matchups next week. Dallas traveling to Green Bay.
Yeah,
That's
luck.
a classic. Carolina traveling to Seattle, man. You think Seattle's unstoppable. Carolina's kind of got that grittiness where they might be able to win that.
Two great defenses in this game.
Baltimore is actually playing against the New England Patriots again. How many times do they face off in the playoffs?
Yep.
And Peyton Manning, he thinks he's got a nice, easy round, home game coming up. And then he's got the haunting
The nemesis.
Indianapolis Colts, his old
The
squad.
old team.
Now, do you have anybody you can throw out there as your surprise Trippy Player of the Year? Maybe think about it for a second. I'm going to throw out my surprise Trippy Player of the Year for you guys.
Yeah.
It's Devin Hester. I feel like a lot of people kind of gave up on him, and I thought he did some big plays, and some of these wide receivers were going down for Atlanta, and I feel like they didn't use him enough. When they did go to him, he was making plays. He's not a Pro Bowler. He's not a great player, but I just think he deserves a shout out for being a great cornerback, then a great returner, and all of a sudden being a pretty good wide receiver.
Yeah, I agree. I think, if we could add one more running back to this, I would like to see Marshawn Lynch in it. Just because that offense, I don't think there's another team, maybe besides the Cowboys, that depends on their running back. Maybe actually Pittsburgh. We just noticed they did struggle against the Ravens last week, or this past game. But Marshawn Lynch, I'd like to give a shout out to him because this dude's still getting it done with no other weapons around him.
Yeah,
besides Russell
he's
Wilson.
definitely trippy.
He's definitely tripping, exactly.
I think I'm going to go get some Skittles. Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. Make sure to stay tuned here at Trippy Commentaries. It's been an amazing playoff so far, but the season has been just crazy. One of the craziest I can remember. Something tells me it's going to be pretty epic. Heading towards the Super Bowl, we'll make sure to bring you a great Super Bowl preview. Until then, enjoy the playoffs, have a great weekend, and stay trippy.